Hello and welcome to Everywoman. I'm Shuli Ghosh. On the programme this week, Indonesia has one of the highest rates of maternal deaths in Asia. Could legalising abortion make a difference? No boys allowed. The secret lives of teenage girls in Denmark. And the women of Zimbabwe using flower power in the battle for change. Abortion is one of the most divisive issues in the entire world. Whether you're pro or anti-abortion, there are very few people who don't have an opinion. But in Indonesia, the subject is even more complicated because of the extremely high number of women who die during or shortly after pregnancy. Some studies suggest up to 50% of maternal deaths are due to unsafe abortions. Now, abortion in Indonesia is illegal, but with 2 million women having them every year, many believe it's time for a change. Everywoman reports now on the growing call for safe abortions.
I can't do it alone. I'm single, without a husband. People will look at me in a bad light. My parents have no idea about my condition. They thought I'm ill. They are fiercely religious. If they knew, they would disown me. They will not call me their daughter.
It's not just Mornese parents who disapprove of abortion. Most Islamic scholars in Indonesia and elsewhere say the Quran forbids it.
Basically, abortion is haram. So Islam does not allow all activities that cause death. One of these activities is abortion.
Despite this view, women continue to have illegal abortions in Indonesia for a variety of reasons. Rita is married and has a baby boy, but she's not ready for another child just yet.
Yes, I actually did, but I only use condom. Then I think I don't need that because I'm still nursing. My baby is still 10 months, and then I want to take care of my baby until 1 year. If I'm pregnant again, so I can nursing him, and then I can take care of my baby because I know my body is will very, when pregnant is not very well. So. Poor baby, if I don't take care of him, so that's my decision why I don't want to.
Both women spoke on condition of anonymity, fearing prosecution under Indonesian law. But in spite of that, 2 million Indonesian women go through the procedure every year, many using unsafe methods.
I lost a lot of blood. I was pale and my body was slim. I still don't feel well. Sometimes there is still some pain in my womb, and sometimes I still have splotches.
Angka kematian ibu memang di Indonesia cukup tinggi, bahkan lebih.
The number of maternal deaths as a result of childbirth is very high in Indonesia, even higher than in Vietnam. More than 40% of the deaths are because of unsafe abortion. Why is there unsafe abortion? Because of our laws that altogether prohibit abortion. But there is always a big need. So they will find alternatives to do it, and they will go to places where they can get it.
Women's groups have been rallying against the idea that abortion is simply haram, prohibited. Recently, one of the most outspoken advocates published a book arguing that Islam does not entirely prohibit the procedure.
In our Islamic literature, even in the 15th century, there was already a lively debate about what can and cannot be done. Why is it that now it has become a closed case, as if it is a given that abortion is haram and cannot be questioned? My research shows that there are many factors and reasons that allow abortion.
Her view has now won support from the highest religious authority, the Ulama Council, so much so that it has recently changed its fatwa or religious pronouncement.
Aborsi pada dasarnya haram, tapi boleh karena dua hal.
As a principle, abortion is haram, but is allowed on several conditions. First, if the mother's life is threatened. Secondly, if the fetus carried a disease that cannot be cured and will be a burden to people around him his whole life. Thirdly, if the result of the pregnancy is because of rape, and if the fetus is not aborted, will cause suffering to the mother her whole life.
But the debate is far from over. Indonesia's secular law still prohibits abortion, and until a revised bill gets presidential consent, women like Murni and Rita will continue to risk their lives.
That report by Divya Gopalan. Well, joining us now is Dr. Saparina Sadli, advisor of the Women's Health Foundation, which, along with other pressure groups, is pushing for a change to the law. Dr. Saparina, it's clear that many women in Indonesia are seeking illegal abortions, often with disastrous consequences. Who are performing these abortions? Why are they so dangerous?
Abortion is criminalized in Indonesia, which means that people seeking for safe abortion is very difficult. So where do they go for if they need, because unplanned pregnancies and unwanted pregnancies is still, of course, occurring like in all places over the world. And they do seek, of course, help for that. But since abortion is still illegal and criminalized, they try to do it also by themselves, or they go even to medical doctors, but still those practices are actually illegal.
Do you think that in pushing for amendments to the health law, you can overcome the objections of religious groups?
Since the highest religious institution, the Majelis Ulama, has already issued an edict about what kind of safe abortion services is allowed, you know. So what we expect is that the amendment of the health law will include what has been the edict of the religious institution, and although this is still very limited, but it's still, according to me, it's still a chance for us to further think about how the safe abortion services should be legalized.
Can I ask you, the fact that so many women look for illegal abortions, does that raise the question of greater education about family planning, about contraceptives?
It has something to do with contraceptive use, you know, because illegal abortion is also caused by the failure of the use of contraceptives. So it doesn't really mean maybe that the policy is at fault or that the contraceptive device is not good, but you also have to think about that maybe those women or the men, their husbands, don't allow the women to use a certain contraceptive device, which means that they have to use something which doesn't agree with them. So the issue is actually very complicated, but it doesn't mean that that fighting for safe abortion services is actually like using it as a means of free sex or something like that. Maybe that misperception should also be clarified.
How close do you think you are, Dr. Saparina, to getting the changes in the law that you want?
The Parliament has already gone through the amendments which we have suggested, but there has to be still a discussion with the government. So we hope that in the discussion with the government, not much of the suggestions in the amendment will be changed. That is our hope.
How important is it, do you think, for the women of Indonesia that they have the choice of being able to have a safe abortion as opposed to having an unsafe, illegal abortion?
You know that illegal abortion has very many negative consequences, even death. So everybody should have a right to have a safe abortion service, and that is actually what we are aiming at. How can women who need abortion services assess safe abortion services, because that is not available yet.
Dr. Saparina Sadli there, thank you for joining Everywoman. Well, after the break, the peaceful fight for change by the women of Zimbabwe.